Hello, welcome back to my channel and to today's video where I am going to be sharing what's new in my wardrobe for winter. Right, starting off with item number one, and these are actually a pre-loved purchase. So I bought these off Vinted. I saved myself quite the pretty penny actually, because these retail for £135. They are a current style and I got them for £40. Plus the postage and packaging, but we'll just waive that for the moment. So these are Veja Campos, but they are the winter style, which have got this really thick fleecy lining inside. And I have a couple of other pairs of Campos, and they for me are the most comfortable style out of all of the Vejas. Now I did go, this is just a little word of warning for size for anyone else that might be looking at maybe this particular style or any other kind of fleecy lined trainer. I bought my usual size in these, and I kind of thought that Veja would have accommodated for the thickness of the lining inside. However, when they arrived and I put them on, they did feel a little bit snug. So they're not the kind of trainers that I would be able to wear with a thicker sock that I normally can, because I am a half size, so I do generally have a bit of room. And I have had to be wearing them in the house just to kind of, I say break them in, but to sort of compact the fleecy lining that's inside. It's kind of like you would get with any sort of sheepskin pair of boots or slippers. Once you've worn them a few times, that sheepskin furry inside starts to compact and you end up with a little bit more room inside, which is exactly the situation that I've got with these. So not something to be put off by, but just something to note. Now this is actually my second pair within like my whole footwear collection of fleecy lined trainers. My other pair are a pair of Converse high tops, and I've had them for maybe about three winter seasons now, and I love them. I've worn them on winter Disney trips and they've kept my feet so toasty. I've worn them to like going to a football match, you know, somewhere where you are outside, just sat in one place. Again, nice and toasty. Worn them out and about throughout the winter season, and they're great, which is why I decided to get a second pair in one of my favourite styles of trainers, which is the Veja Campo. Right, moving on to items number two, because I've got two sets, and it's normally around this time of year that I tend to add a little bit more loungewear to my wardrobe and to my loungewear collection, if you will. And so here I have got two sets of loungewear from Organic Basics. So I'm going to start off with this first set. This is from the True Knit range, and this is made from 100% organic cotton. It's actually quite thick. It's like a knitted texture. It's a knitted weave, and although it's cotton, it does feel like, you know, like a jumper and a knitted pair of joggers as well. So the set, I could call it a set, they're actually sold separately. So I've got here the sweater, and then I've got the straight leg pants here, which have got a little elasticated waist and a draw cord on them as well. And I do already have this set in a colour which is called almond, and that's kind of like a pale camely beigey colour. Very me. And now here I've got it in a second colour, and this one is walnut. So this is like a darker, deeper brown colour. So when it comes to fabric composition, these are made out of 100% organic cotton. And it is a knitted texture. It feels really nice and soft. It actually feels quite substantial, but because it's cotton, that means it's going to be wearable all year round, so regardless of the season. My older set, the one that I've got in almond, I have worn that in literally every single season, including summer when it's quite warm outside. I've worn that in a morning and in an evening. It's just really nice loungewear, and it washes well. And then here I've got my second set, but before I get into this one, just a little bit of information on Organic Basics. Lots of you will have heard me talk about them before. They're a brand that I have shopped with. I reckon it's about 5 or 6 years, but it could potentially be longer because the pandemic just messes up my mind calendar. But I'd say it's about 5 or 6 years. And they're a Copenhagen-based brand, and the clue is in the name. They have like a really strong emphasis and a focus on just creating really well-made, everyday basics. So we're talking essentials like loungewear, t-shirts, long sleeve, short sleeve, all different kind of fits. Underwear, their underwear, as again many of you will know, I have been a very big fan of. It makes up about 95% of my underwear drawers. So here I have got, now this set is from what I think is a newer collection, because I don't remember seeing it before, but this is from the soft knit collection, and it definitely does feel soft. Now the fabric composition of this one is slightly different. These are made from 70% organic cotton, 20% recycled polyester and 10% nylon. And the feel of this is really, really soft. It does feel slightly thinner in comparison to the true knit, and the weave, if you like, in the fabric isn't quite as chunky. But when I look at this set, I just feel like it almost looks like a more elevated set. So it's definitely something that I would wear out of the house. If, for example, I needed to nip to the shops to go and get something, this is certainly something that I would throw on and just not feel like I'm necessarily in, you know, like a sweatsuit or something like that. It just feels a little bit more elevated. I could still wear it with a pair of trainers and pop a nice coat over the top, and I'd still feel, you know, relatively put together whilst also being comfortable. Now on to the really good bit. I do have a discount code to share with you guys today, slightly different to the one that I normally share, and that is because we are in Black Friday sale time. So this discount code gives you 5% discount, which is additional discount off the already discounted items that are in the Black Friday sale. So if that is something that piques your interest, we will pop the code on screen and also down below in the description box, just for your future reference, along with any links to the items that you've seen in today's video, and I'll pop a couple of links to my other favourites from Organic Basics as well. Right, on to my next items. I've got 2 pairs of wrist warmers here. I'm just going to pop them ones back on the rail, and I'll talk about these ones first. It's definitely traitor season because the wrist warmers have very much come out in force. So this first pair are from La Redoute, and I haven't actually bought anything from La Redoute in a few years, but I got an email like notification thing just to say that they had a discount on. They do discounts quite a lot, and I always look on there for the homey stuff. So we do have a few La Redoute homey things in the house. And then for some reason, I don't know why, but I just wandered over to the fashion category and I spotted these. Now at full price, these were $42.99. And fabric composition wise, I think it's kind of justified because they're 90% wool and 10% cashmere. So they're really, really nice fabric, and they're also quite thick. They feel very substantial. And these aren't just wrist warmers. These ones in particular go all the way up to the elbow. So they're lower arm warmers. And they also come in a plethora of colours, including some really bold colours. So I thought $42.99, it's probably more than I would want to pay, but a fair price. And there was this discount, as I say. Then there was an additional code for an extra discount. I think it was an extra 11% off. So I ended up getting these for just over £20, which I think is an absolute bargain and well worth it for the fabric composition. Now I think these are quite practical for around about this time of year and going into the sort of early period of winter. I don't know if I'd necessarily be able to sacrifice a full fingered glove in sort of February time, but certainly for December these are something that I will get a lot of wear out of. Now these obviously are a very nice fabric, so I bought a pair for dog walking. These ones are from Zara. I've got a black pair here, but again, they do have 4, I would say, very sort of core colours. I think they've got a navy, a brown, and like a similar colour to the other ones, like a moly colour. And I got black because I thought it was the most practical. The fabric composition is artificial fibres, so it's something that for me is just more practical for dog walking. I can just bung these in the wash if I have to pick up one of the dogs and they're all muddy. So these are just a more practical option, and these were $12.99. Okay, on to my next item, and it is this coat by COS. Now it might look quite similar because I had the green one in my most recent COS sort of autumn winter try on, where I focused on just their outerwear and just their knitwear. So I loved it, the green coat. I thought it was absolutely beautiful, but I do already have a green coat in my wardrobe, and for a colour like green, I just don't find it as versatile as black. I can just never have enough black. So I did decide to add the black one to my wardrobe because there's a reason for this. It's very well thought out, trust me. This is a lined coat, which, as you will know, if you are regulars here, regular watchers, is not my go-to for a coat. I'm quite partial to a double-faced unlined coat because I'm all about the fluidity, the movement of the fabric. But there's no denying that a lined coat, and a nice thick sort of cosy one like this, is perfect for the cooler months of winter. So we're talking late January, February. February is just miserable, it's so cold. So that's why I decided to opt for this coat. I kind of thought it'd be good to have a slightly warmer, more substantial option for those cooler times in winter. So style-wise, it's an oversized fit, but it does have this really cool collar detail that goes up quite high. So you can wear it loose and sort of undone like this, or you can really do it up. So if it's a really chilly day, you've got that sort of added protection against any winter wind chill. And in terms of fabric composition, it's 72% recycled wool, and the lining inside is 100% viscose. Right, moving on to my next item, and it is this satin shirt from Massimo Dutti. Now, I am not a lover of festive season dressing. It is a bit of a nightmare for me because I'm not into sequins, and as we all know, around this time of year, the sequins are in full force. Sequins, glitter, gems, like it's all about that vibe, and for me it's too much. It's quite overstimulating. So when it comes to festive season dressing, that section of my wardrobe, or just dressing up in general, is very, very, very modest. And so this season I had thought about adding, I've got a couple of satin shirts in my sort of dressier section of my wardrobe, and I thought of adding just another colour for any future potential either festive dressing or just general dressing up. So I've got this one, the colour is called Lead, which I think is very accurate. It's like a really nice graphite-y dark grey, which I've always felt is a colour that kind of suits me because I have blue eyes, but they're slightly grey as well, so I just feel like it makes my eyes pop. And this one in particular was a really good find because when you get satin shirts, if they're not particularly a luxury brand, they tend to be 100% polyester. However, this one is 100% viscose, so I was quite happy to pay a little bit more money with it being Massimo Dutti in comparison to somewhere like Zara or Uniqlo or one of those brands that would more than likely use 100% polyester. Right, next up, I've been quite excited to share these with you guys because this has taken my love of burgundy, which I think has been very obvious in my recent content, to the next level, because I didn't have any burgundy footwear apart from one pair of trainers, and in the last 3, maybe 4 weeks, I've added a burgundy pair of boots and a burgundy pair of like chunky loafers. They're not going to be in this video, but I might try and include them in maybe some of the cutaways, so they may be in this video, but they're not new in my wardrobe, even though they are new in my wardrobe. We have to keep things concise, as you can see. I like to waffle. Anyway, the boots. They are from Cezanne. They are leather, and they're kind of like a sock boot style. So this section that goes from sort of ankle above, this is slightly more tapered and elasticy, so it's more fitted as it goes up the leg. And they've got a very manageable heel. Not only is it a block, but it's like a good height. Not too high, not too low, just a good substantial mid heel. And then they've got a slightly squared off toe, which I quite like because sometimes a pointed toe can really elongate my feet, and as I'm about to mention, I have rather large feet. So that brings me on to size. So I haven't ordered, I don't know if I've ever ordered Sézanne footwear, but I haven't ordered off Sézanne in, well, I recently did order a trench coat, but that was sort of my reintroduction to Sézanne, where I started looking on their website again. So I kind of forgot some of the size sort of clues that I remembered from back when I used to shop with them quite regularly. So I ordered these. I took note of their sizing advice, which says if you are in between sizes, which I am, I'm a 7.5 to 8, depending on the brand, then make sure you go up to the nearest whole size. So I ordered these in an 8, and when they arrived, they were miles too small lengthwise. They were just too short for me. So I sent them back, and I ended up having to order a 9, which I suppose is a bonus that they even do a 9, but I have never been a size 9 in my life. So my one word of advice is that these do come up incredibly small. Now I have very narrow feet, so width-wise that's never an issue for me. They could be the narrowest shoes in the world and I would still be fine with them. But for me it was a length issue. So yes, I have these in a size 9. Right, next up, it doesn't look great on this hanger, but I didn't really know how to sort of showcase it. So this is a wool blend triangle scarf from Arket. I hadn't really been that into triangle scarves before, but they're very, very prominent this season. I think they're a bit of like a micro trend when it comes to accessories, and I am all in favour. So before getting this one, I did have a couple in my wardrobe and they were also from this season, and I just thought that they are excellent for being a faff-free accessory. If you think about like a normal traditional scarf, the long ones that you have to wrap around, or there's like a million different ways you can tie them, they're a bit of a faff. You always get like the end flapping about and it's just too much. So this is literally a triangle, hence the name. And then you've got a little slot in this side that the other side feeds through, and it just sits nicely on the shoulders. And you can do it up tighter so that you can really bundle up in it, or you can do it up slightly looser so that it just creates a nice silhouette up top, but just excellent, faff-free. Now, fabric composition wise, I think I referenced earlier that I really like double-faced fabric when it comes to coats. This is essentially a double-faced fabric, so it's kind of like coat material. So this I will definitely be wearing with a lot of my double-faced coats. And this is 80% wool and then 20% polyester, if memory serves me correctly. And now on to my final item, which I haven't actually decided if I'm keeping yet. So it's this mohair blend Fair Isle jumper from And Other Stories. I look at it and I love it, and I think that's the issue, because this was a see it, love it, buy it. I was just tunnel vision, so it was a bit of an impulse purchase. Now, I would get wear out of this jumper, out of the style. A Fair Isle jumper is something that I absolutely love. It would be my version of a Christmas jumper, because I'm not into the Christmas jumpers with like Santa Claus on, or candy canes, or bells, or again, glitter, sequins, any of that kind of stuff. It's just not my thing. So this would be sort of my version of a Christmas jumper. And with a Fair Isle knit, I think it's a really good option as a Christmas jumper, but it's also something that's seasonally appropriate for the entire season of winter. So it's not just that one item that you can wear in December and December alone, or however long you celebrate the festive season for. Now, it does have some downsides, and this is kind of what's got me overthinking and trying to figure out if I'm going to keep it or not. First and foremost, it is an oversized style, and naturally I gravitate towards oversized things, but because it's such a chunky knit, like it's very, very thick, I think I'm going to struggle to wear any kind of outerwear over the top, which therefore leaves it as a jumper that is only worn either indoors, which I'm then around the dogs a lot, and I certainly don't want to be wearing a £120 jumper when I'm snuggling with the dogs, or it leaves it as one of those pieces that I wear to somewhere like the pub or going shopping in Bluewater or just nipping out for lunch or something. Somewhere where you're going from sort of house to car to place and there's not much outside in between all those little snippets. And I don't know if there's going to be enough of that kind of environment for me to get enough wear out of this. So I don't know. I see it, I love it, I just think it's beautiful, but I need to do some more mulling over. Right, there we go. That's my rail all done. So those were the items that I have added to my wardrobe ever so slightly ahead of the coming winter season. As always, if you've got a favourite, do let me know down in the comment section below. If you've got any sort of input with regards to my will I keep it, won't I keep it jumper, again, let me know down in the comment section below. But for now, that's it from me. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time.